Psalms chapter 84 and verse 10. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. So 1 day in the kingdom of heaven is better than 1,000 of your best days on this side, man. Let me repeat that again. 1 single day in the kingdom of heaven is better than 1,000 of your best days on this side, man. Okay? Where things were better for you. Moments that you can reminisce on and say, yeah, that was a good day. The kingdom of heaven blows it out the park, man. It blows it out the water. Just 1 day. Not to mention, the Heavenly Father, He's going to stretch out the time. He's going to expand the time so you can enjoy your immortality. You can enjoy your life. And the Lord said in Wisdom of Solomon, He created the Israelite man to be an image of his own eternity, man. We're going to be a likeness of his own eternity, man. We're going to be many most highs, man. We're going to be many most highs. Okay? God's on earth. Under Yahweh Shai.
I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
And also what's going to make us gods? These laws, statutes, commandments, and us judging by the laws, statutes, commandments, but also these laws being in our inward parts, making us those perfect judges. Not to mention, we experience these different reincarnations in this wicked flesh, so we know how to judge the flesh. We know how to judge this body because we've been in this body many times. Okay? But once again, the kingdom of heaven is going to be patterned after the mind of Yahweh Shai, man. A righteous paradigm.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven.
All right, you got to talk one.
All right. First and foremost, we like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem Kakadash, and double to the Apostle Adams and GMS. And citation to your brother, push the word of truth into 7 corners. We James Mississippi Camp. And then go ahead, brothers.
Gun, hey, Shalom. So what we're gonna get into this week, all right, the brother a lot, when he had posted a video in the group chat dealing with the big beautiful bill, which there's been a talk, of the last couple of weeks. Now we have to understand that this bill, was damn near 1,000 pages, like 900 some pages, and it got so much shit in it. Now what these devils do, they'll put, things into these bills that they don't talk about that much. All right, and then they pick, different points to talk about with the bill. And the main thing that's being talked about now is these different tax cuts and what they mean. And these devils, they're so crafty, they can make it seem like they're doing something for your interest when ultimately it has nothing to do with you. All right, and we know one thing that Trump is all about. All right, the super rich, the Zionists, and the technocrats. Okay, he's not here for the common man to do better. Okay, he might put some things in play, that sound good. All right, but ultimately we know, all right, where the devil is headed, with all, these unrighteous decrees. Okay, so we got a video we want to get into. We got two. All right, we're gonna play the first one, then get into some precepts. Lord, we'll segue to the second. Any brother has something to say before we went to the video? Okay, so we'll get straight into it. Just a quick video. All right, and like I say, it's so much. It's gonna be just new things coming out about this bill. It's gonna be a lot of information coming out. So we'll just follow it as it go. So let's start off here.
And with that bill now law, what's in it for you? Our Brendan Kirby had a hefty reading assignment and breaks it down.
There are a lot of provisions in the new budget bill that apply to businesses, but we thought that we'd focus on the taxes and benefits that apply to individuals and families. We should start with personal income tax rates. Congress cut them during President Donald Trump's first term, but they were scheduled to revert back to the previous levels. With this act, they will remain lower across the board. Here's some other things that some of you have commented on.
How damaging this bill will be to their quality of life.
Critics of the budget bill signed into law Friday cite a multitude of objections. Here are some of them and what the text of the law says.
A lot of people are going to lose Medicaid funding with this bill.
That's the federal health program for the poor. Democrats claim almost 12 million people will lose health care. The bill doesn't change the income eligibility requirements. Instead, it imposes new requirements that critics say some people have difficulty complying with. It requires able-bodied recipients to work, attend school, or volunteer 80 hours a month. But critics say it's hard to know where to draw the line on who is disabled enough to be exempt from the work requirement. The bill also requires states to check for eligibility every 6 months to prevent people from double enrolling in more than one state's Medicaid program and remove illegal immigrants or others who don't qualify. It also makes changes to the Affordable Care Act that reduce federal funds to states that choose to cover immigrants who may not qualify under federal rules.
He's taken away so much from people. He's taken away food.
That's a reference to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly called food stamps. As with Medicaid, the law doesn't change eligibility, but includes work requirements for able-bodied recipients and extends those work requirements from the current cutoff age of 54 to 64. It exempts pregnant women and parents with children younger than 14. It also limits eligibility to citizens and legal immigrants in most cases, and it shifts some of the costs to the states.
The tax cuts that they have made for folks who make an awful lot of money, those tax cuts are permanent. Those are the ones that should be temporary. Let those folks who work in a service industry that most of us would not want to, let them benefit from the tax cuts because they need them.
That's a reference to the much talked about provision reducing taxes on tips. And indeed, those are set to expire in 2028. That's also the case with two other changes. Let's look at all three. No tax on tips. Taxpayers can deduct up to $25,000 in tips on their tax returns. This starts phasing out on incomes greater than $150,000 for individuals and $300,000 for couples. There are provisions designed to prevent regular income from being reclassified as tips. No tax on overtime. Taxpayers will be able to deduct overtime income up to a $12,500 limit, $25,000 for couples. This also phases out for wealthier taxpayers. Trump accounts. This will be a savings program for all babies born in the United States during Trump's second term. The government will make a one-time $1,000 contribution, and families can contribute up to $5,000 a year. The money can't be used until the child turns 18. There are other adjustments to the existing tax code that will affect millions of Americans. For instance, the standard deduction is going up from $15,000 to $15,750 for singles and from $30,000 to $31,500 for couples. Those limits will automatically rise with inflation. And the child tax credit will go from $2,000 to $2,200. It also will rise with inflation. There's a lot more in this bill that we just don't have time to go through tonight, but we will continue to go over some of the items that concern many of you. Reporting in the News Center, Brendan Kirby, Fox 10 News.
Hi, I'm background artist.
And real quick, just to unpack some of the things that were said. All right, so you have, some Jake cheering, some people complaining because there's so much in there. There's a lot of contradictions. There's a lot of gray areas. All right, and Jake just hear about overtime not being taxed, okay, or Jake just hear tax cut and he think, it's talking about them. No, those tax cuts are for the super rich. All right, those people that are grossing millions, all right, and even billions of dollars, so they can have more capital to do what you call those stock buybacks. Okay, in which that's how they pay their CEOs. That's why, all right, the CEO of Lyft, okay, can make $78 million a year because he owns so many shares in Lyft. That's how the owner pays him in stock shares. Okay, so when they make all this money, okay, and they don't have to, and they get, see, they tax cut is way different. You see, we get a tax cut, you might get an extra, $18 a month, with tax cut. But when these niggas get tax cut, they get an extra $18 million, $2-3 billion a year with their tax cuts. That should make a major difference in the capital that they got to reinvest into the company or invest into something else. Okay, so a tax cut don't do you no good. All right, if you just getting the extra, $18, $19 a month, and the nigga all in front of the camera on TikTok, like he won the Super Bowl, because niggas don't understand how nothing work. So there's a lot of gray areas in there. It's a lot of double talk. Okay, and as the brother was going into, he had something called death by paperwork, to where this nigga, he floods you with so much paperwork, all right, that you just say fuck it. You don't even go into it. Just like when you get a cell phone, you get all this, what they call it, agreement, what they call it,
terms and conditions.
Yeah, terms and conditions. But then you flick the scroll one time, and you see that it's 92 pages for this goddamn cell phone. You just click OK. Like, you ain't got time to read all that shit. And that's what they do with these goddamn bills. They make them, 900 pages. You ain't finna read no 900 pages, no damn bill. So he got so much hidden in there, because one thing that they ain't touch on is the deregulation of the AI infrastructure, which that's something, we'll get on to in a separate lesson. But we'll get that in a minute. What precept you want? You want to go ahead and get that Revelation 12, bro?
Nah, bro. I had wanted to get that before that video, so you can drop that. Can you give me on Psalms chapter 55, verse 21?
Yeah, Jake didn't say nothing when I asked before the video. Yeah, dang. So what you want, bro?
Psalms chapter 55, verse 21.
You got it, bro.
This is Psalm chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were smoother than oil, yet they drawn swords.
Yeah, softer than oil.
Softer than oil, the water, yet they drawn swords. Like a lot of the stuff that's in there, a lot of the stuff that's in there, it sounds good, but the rest of the stuff we haven't, little stuff that we do know, but the rest of the stuff we haven't seen, this is man's sword. It's like that dagger behind his back. This man is the devil. Everything this man is pushing is to forward his agenda.
Mm-hmm. You had something else, bro?
Can you give me Psalms chapter 140, verse 2 and 3? Or probably just 2. Okay.
You got it, bro.
This is Psalms 140, verse 2. It says, which imagine...
Start that one. Yeah.
Psalms chapter 40, verse 1. Mm-hmm. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, deliver me, O Lord Yahweh, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which image mischief, which imagine mischiefs in their hearts. Continually are they gathered together for war. And this is what you see, man. This is war on what? The masses.
on the lower class, but especially the 12 tribes, you know, and David, was praying was like, deliver me from this man. That's what we need. We need to be all, adding to our prayer if you haven't, because we're going to need to be delivered out of this man's hand because he's coming with something very, very draconian, you know? It's not called the worst time ever for no reason. This man has been scheming, licking his chop, rubbing his hands, for this moment. What a moment to come.
Come, bro. If I just want to get this real quick. Since you brought that out about war and what people don't understand, just to add to what you're saying, bro, that your government is at a covert war with you. All right. When you go into the word covert, it goes into a secret war. Okay. Because like you said, on one hand, they're telling you these smooth words, but on the back end, they're all out war with you. It's that they're at war with you with your health, okay, with your mental, with your spiritual. Okay. It's just an all out war. That's why even the scripture tell us, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. All right. Now, when you get a covert war, all right, it says also known as covert action or clandestine operation, which clandestine goes into secret. Okay. Refers to activities conducted by a nation state or non-state actor to influence political, military, or economic conditions in another country without publicly disclosing their involvement. These actions are designed to be hidden or disguised, maintaining a level of plausible deniability for, all right, the sponsoring entity. Okay, so these devils, all right, they do this throughout the world, all right, and for the last few decades, they've been at a covert war with the American public. Okay, your government, all right, the people that you vote for, and you got your MAGA hats, and you're divorcing your husband because he voted for Trump and you voted for Kamala. All of them are at war with you. Okay. All you did was vote, all right, for the leader of this covert war. Okay. From the government of America to the American people. All right. And they do so many things and it's caused so much confusion and, pass these big bills, and it leaves them, all right, with plausible deniability to where they can deny, all right, when accused. Okay. So, real quick, when you just say secrecy, let me get it back, bro. If any brother got something, it says the primary goal is to keep the operation hidden from public view and often from the target nation's government and citizens. And see, this time the target citizens is the U.S. citizen, and it's being done by the U.S. government, which is completely bought and paid for by, all right, the elites, But yeah, I just wanted to get into that since you talked about, you brought that precept about the war, bro. Did any other brother have a precept?
Come on, bro. You get Ephesians 6.
You got,
yeah, Ephesians 6 and 12.
Come on. And then we can segue to the other video. It's cool to segue to the other video, Halak, after the precept.
Kind of, you can.
If you had some, we can get it. And then it's all on you.
Okay, I'm gonna grab one more after this.
All right. Damn. What you said, 6 and 12, bro?
Come on, bro.
You got it, bro.
Come on, this book of Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places."
Yeah, so we're not just, for one, we know that this devil, he doing the bidding of Satan, which is his God, So the Lord gave him over the Lord gave Satan over as a god unto Edomites, So they don't, even though they're doing the bidding of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, they don't understand they're still working for the Lord. But we still wrestling against this devil, the same devil You know, the same Satan or Hasatan, you know, that tried to sift our Lord, you know. But and us being wicked vessels, and we are subdued unto those even the things that, you know, Yahushua went through. We can't escape all that. So we're working against this damn devil. Hey, because he's the God of this world. You know, the principalities, the spiritual wickedness, because he trying to, hey, what the brother Baya always bring out, hey, to attack a spiritual people, you gotta get on spiritually. You know? Mm-hmm. So it's basically us, he want us ultimately to give ourselves over to him. You know, to where he wear us out so much to where we just tap out. You know, we just tap out and give him the go ahead to do whatever he will with us. You know? But yeah, the wrestle is against basically the spiritual wickedness of this place, man. And though, because the devil, he's been given again, Job 9:24. He's been given this world, so he's gonna attack a spiritual people with a spiritual game plan, and that is to bring us all into what his devices, you know. But we're not ignorant of those devices.
Come on, bro.
So like, that's all I had, bro.
You had some. You said you had something else. Come on, bro.
Can you give me Proverbs chapter 26, verse 24 through 26?
All right, you got it, bro.
This is Proverbs chapter 24, starting at verse 20. It's Proverbs chapter 26, starting at verse 24. He that hateth dissembled, he that hated dissembled with his lips, and laid up deceit within him. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation.
God, and this, you know, this is what this man is doing. You know, all that is in his heart. All these abominations, he all think he want to get off. The things he want to do. This man is, this man is evil, man. He says, you know, his wickedness is going to be shown because you got the prophets on the highways and hedges. It's on this unicorn revealing this man works. You know, each thing this man do it in his heart, he has something, you know, evil. He has a snare in mind. He has, you know, trickery in mind, man. You know.
Come on, bro. Real quick, let's read this in the NLT. Start at 23. It's hard.
Because it's Proverbs 26, starting at verse 23. It says, "Smooth words may hide a wicked heart, just as pretty glaze covers a clay pot."
Oh, yeah.
People may cover their hatred with pleasant words, but they're deceiving you. Mm-hmm. They pretend to be kind. Do not believe them. Their hearts are full of evil ways. The hearts are full of many evils throughout. While their hatred may be concealed by trickery, their wrongdoing will be exposed in the public.
That's tough. And they describe the devil to a T.
Yeah.
You know, they describe it to a T. You got it, though, bro.
Oh, nah, bro. I made my point in the NLT. That was beautiful. Yeah, you got it, bro.
Yeah. Come on. Michael 2-1.
Come on. Since brother brought that one up.
I think the brother. Hold on. I think the Memphis brother Yakanan.
Yeah, he put it up there.
Yeah, you got it.
Come on, this is brother GMS Memphis Yakanan Ba. Micah chapter 2, verse 1. It says, "Woe unto them that devise iniquity, that work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand." Mm-hmm. It says, "Woe unto them that devise iniquity and that work evil upon their beds." That means they can't even go to sleep, you know, without plotting and coming up with ways just to continue to oppress us, to continue to, like the brother Nehemiah going to continue to attack us on that spiritual level. It says when the morning is light, man, they get up early to do this. And when you get up early, that means you gotta you got a certain type of dedication. You got a devotion to what you're doing, and they
committed.
They're committed.
They got a headband on.
You committed. You know, you ever seen like them players who practice sports? You know, they be out there early, out there all day long. But they out there early. They get up early because it's something that they dedicated to. You know, and that's how Esau is with his wicked devices. And it says because it is in the power of his hand. You know, he had the power to do these things right now. That's it, bro.
God. So, your brother didn't have nothing else. I want to play a few minutes of this. Lamar, you good?
Con, bro, con. You go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna play a few minutes of this because he's gonna kind of go in depth. So he gonna break down the wealth distribution in America. All right. And we're gonna see, you know, just how wicked this goddamn devil is, man. You know, brother could post on the comment board Proverbs 11:1. Okay. The devil is completely wicked when you go into this wealth distribution, man. All right, so let's play this real quick.
I want to talk to you today about the big, beautiful bill that's actually quite ugly. The one just passed by the Senate and on its way, as I'm making this recording, back to the House for a reconciliation, as they call it. So it's now time to do that because the vast majority of what's going to be in the bill is in it now, whatever little tweaks they make before it's finalized. And I want to deal with something that other treatments of all of this haggling and horse trading and what passes for politics and is really just a variety of corruption in which the White House buys off whatever senator needs to be bought off with whatever little trinket so they vote for a bill that is horrible for the people of the United States. So let me begin with that. What's the problem here that others aren't talking about?
Actors, we can make you believe we know what we're doing, when in fact, we do not.
Very simple. The single most important problem of the American economy that everyone really knows is the fact that we are now one of the most unequal economies in the world. At the end of World War II, the United States was remarkable because it was less unequal than, for example, countries in Western Europe. Now we are more unequal than the countries in Western Europe. We have really raced to the fore to be as unequal as we possibly could. Over the last 40 years, to be crystal clear, we have had a redistribution of wealth in the United States. Not the one that Republicans and Democrats worry we might have and have to avoid. No, I'm not talking about that fantastic one which never happened. I'm talking about the real one that happened that we don't discuss, although we should, which is a redistribution upward, taking from the bottom, taking from the middle, and giving it to the richest people among us. Let me give you the statistics today, how unequal we are, and then go back and show you how and why the big, beautiful bill is really ugly. All right, I'm going to start with the bottom half of the American people. The bottom half. We are a country of 330 million, so I am talking about 165 million Americans, half our people. Together, the bottom half have today 2.5% of the wealth in this country. That's what they own. 50% of the people have to get along by sharing 2.5% of the wealth.
You gotta take in what he just said, man. 50% of the population, 165 million people, only have 2.5% of the wealth in America, man. Okay, that's crazy, man. You see? So this is how unequal, you know, this man's economy has been. Okay, and he's gonna continue to break it down some more. When I first heard that number, I said, "God damn!" So you have 165 people in a rat race for 2% of the country's wealth, and you got niggas talking about chasing the bag.
Nigga, ain't no bag.
Try to get your head around that, and you will understand what it means when people tell you that half of Americans are poor, because that's the truth. Not the make-believe, not the fakery, the truth. Now let's take the next 40% of the people. They're richer, they have more than the bottom half, but less than the top 10%. So we've talked about the bottom half, 50%. Now the next 40%, what you might call the middle of the United States. How much wealth do the middle of the United States enjoy? 30%. Notice, less than their share of the population. If the bottom half get only 2.5%, and the middle, so we're now talking about the 90% of our people out of 330 million, they get 30%. That leaves the remaining amount. 2/3 of the income of this country is in the hands of the top 10% of our people. That is extremely unequal. You could never dream of a democracy, one person, one vote, if you take 90% of the people and tell them you live on 1/3 of the income we all together produce, and we give the top 10% the other 2/3, that will make the 10% rich, and the rest of us spectators as to how rich they are. Now, please keep that in your mind when I tell you.
Yeah, so as you can see, that's the main point I wanted to play. All right, as you can see, all right, the economy, you know, that you Americans exist in, and it's only getting worse. This bill, shit, you might have 1.2% left for the bottom 50%, you know, and that look 1.3% gonna go to the top. You know, this nigga can never have enough, as the scriptures say, man. You know, but any brother has some.
Yeah. Can I get that get Malachi chapter 1 verse 4?
Said Malachi.
Yeah, chapter 1 verse 4.
God. There you go, bro. Hold on. You got that, bro.
This is Malachi chapter 1 and verse. This is Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. It says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we shall return and rebuild the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord,
right,
Yahweh of hosts, they shall be.
So, Salat. So Edom was impoverished, man. Edom was beat down. They was through. But we know they was going to come back around the Renaissance period. You know, and it says we will return and build in desolate places. And to build, when you're building something, you're what? You're establishing something. And we're seeing that continuing building they're doing now to establish ultimately what the NWO. You know, we know they pushing AI hard, which is going to bring forth that Caragna. You know, and we're watching them burn the candle on both ends. You know, because you got everything going on with the particular wars. You got uprising of the people. You got the economy. The monetary system on the collapse, you know, famine is on the rise. People are losing jobs. So, you know, it's a perfect setup for a collapse of an economy where they're going to have people, you know, at great despair, man. And they're going to be looking for a way out. And this devil is going to present them with their Caragna to be that outlet to be able to have some kind of sense of normalcy living in society, man. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying, his whole point is he's trying to rebuild and bring forth his technology to bring forth the NWO to plug people in, to turn them basically robots, so he can have that continuing rulership, man. But it's not going to happen. But this is this man's aim. This is the angle he's coming at. You know, that's why he's putting such a squeeze on society. You got it, bro.
It says, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness, the people against whom the Lord Yahweh have indignation forever.
Right. And those people that the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, will have indignation with forever are those Amalekites, man, which would be these small hats. They're the ones who are in those top positions when it comes to ruling, man. When it comes to the central bank, you know, all these Fortune 500 companies, you know, one of them now that's on the rise that's got their hands really deep in all this shit that's going on is the BlackRock, you know. But though these devils are trying to get where they're trying to get, man, the Lord has set that ceiling, and they're not going to make it, but they're going to cause a lot of death, a lot of destruction, a lot of mayhem in their agenda to bring forth their new world order, man. You know, bro, if you can give me Isaiah 31:1.
This is Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 1. It says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because there are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not upon the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord, Yahweh.
Right. And we're seeing it play out how people have trusted in Egypt, man. You know, because, you know, when Trump was running, you know, you had Jake lining up in Georgia, man, wanting Trump to get in office, you know, praising Trump, you know, magnifying his name, want him to be in office, man. You know, you had the MAGA hat people pushing for Trump to be in office because he had this angle where he was going to dismantle a lot of the different things that Joe Biden, his administration passed, like the alphabet community. He was going to strip them from those particular rights they had, you know, stop them being able to be men and women's sports and women and men's sports and vice versa. You know, he was going to overturn where the abortion rights, you know, he was putting out all this stuff that was looking and seeming good that people was against. So they was drawn to it. But all in the same token, now he's stripping particular things from them, going into the big, beautiful so-called bill. You know, now they're stripping billions of dollars from SNAP, billions of dollars from Medicaid, you know, and like the brother was going into earlier, about the tax cuts, man. Jake thinking they're finna get tax cuts, but that's going into the wealthy. That's going into the people who own these companies, man. Jake, you get overtime, they're gonna put you in another tax bracket. So nothing that this devil.
I said Jake didn't make no money. A tax cut
right.
ain't your saving grace. So if you go
right.
30% to 27%, nigga, you not gonna see that. You don't make no money. That tax cut
don't make shit.
Y'all are super rich. Y'all niggas ain't got nothing. You got
right. But because of the simple-minded, that's why the scriptures say, how long my people love simplicity. You know, our people are so simple-minded. They don't do no research. They take everything at face value, and they trust in this devil, man. They don't even acknowledge that Esau is their enemy, and they trust in them. You know, and Jake has this such a Stockholm syndrome. When he see this man, he see power. He see a possibility. He see a chance, man. But at the end of the day, this devil is seeking to destroy you, Jake. And none of these things that Jake think is going to be beneficial for him is going to benefit him, man. This devil is seeking to strengthen his empire, man. And the only way he feel he can do that is by doing away or destroying the nation of Israel or separate Israel from their power, man. And all these other nations, even his own, the Edomites, they're just going to be casualties of war, man. He ain't gonna give a damn about them. It's all about the 1%. And all these things they're doing is completely cutting out the middle class, man. So you're gonna have those 1%ers and you're gonna have everybody else, man. So anybody who trusts in this devil, they're gonna be in for a rude awakening very soon, man. That's why we supposed to trust in Yahweh, man, because that is our only outlet. That's our lifeline, man. Because anybody expecting this devil to throw them a life raft when they start really drowning, they can give it up, man. That's all I had, brother.
Come on, bro. Anybody else had something?
Okay.
I got the hangout.
Yeah, we're gonna get it. What you got, a lot?
Let me get Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10 and to 12.
You got it, bro.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12. Come. Verse 12.
Start at 10. We should start at 10.
Kind of 10 to 12.
Come. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus of Sirach, chapter 12, starting at verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so does his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be upon him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he had overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, be pricked before therewith.
Kind. And that what you see. And that what you see, man. Look, these people, like, we've been told to never trust our enemy. Because even though they all might polish all themselves up, they might give you an apology, they might say they finna do this and that for you, their wickedness is gonna slowly and for surely reveal itself again. Like that scripture, Lamar brought that wall to them that go down for Egypt to help. They trust in Egypt, so they excuse me. They trust in Egypt, so they went for that help. They was deceived. They deceived themselves, because this man, again, people don't believe they have an enemy, especially the 12 tribe. They don't believe they have an enemy, and they don't believe that the so-called white man is their enemy. They believe that he's the help from on high. He's the one that's gonna save them out of their situation. But no, he's gonna pierce them with that horn.
Mm-hmm. Come on, bro.
Bro, if I could say real quick, it's like, did people just did it just go over their head, or they just ignored the fact when Trump was elected he gave the speech about the snake? I mean, that was a clear message that he was gonna fuck over the people, man. And it's like nobody really just that really never sunk in like people's minds, man.
Nah, because people got the one thing about America, they got very short-term memory, and they so all over the place and distracted and drunk, high, and broke, desperate, that they really don't have any structures to how they think. Every day they start over. The brother, the guy we used to watch, Shahid Bosley, he said one thing about Americans, that y'all start over every day. Yeah. He said y'all niggas wake up and start over every day. Like the past don't matter, and ain't no plan for the future. Niggas just wake up and start over every day from scratch. You had some type of one?
Bro, go to Psalms 10 and
Psalm 10.
yeah. Because that bill, bro.
Which one, bro? What verse?
Man, hey, you just started yeah. Let's say proverb. I think I started like let me find it, bro. I had it. Basically just start from the top, bro. And go to shit. 10. Oh, yeah.
God damn.
Yeah,
Why the whole list to come out with 10.
Yeah.
You got, bro.
This Psalm chapter 10, starting at verse 1. It says, "Why standest thou afar off, O Lord Yahweh? Why hidest thou thyself in the times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined."
Yeah, because that's
the wicked.
And this like they bill, like they it's how many pages? 900 pages, and but they got all kind of bullshit in it too. Yeah, the guy just spoke on a little bit of it, but I guarantee it's so much shit in that bill, it don't make no sense. But like you're saying, like you said, get that phone. And do you agree? Yeah, people like, yeah, we agree. We don't give a fuck because we're not gonna read all that shit on them phone. We just accept it. And if people gonna do the same thing, they're gonna accept it. All right. And which hell they ain't gonna have no choice. But go ahead, bro.
Verse 3. It says, "For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire, and bless the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh abhorred." Verse 4. The wicked, though the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts.
And that's right. Esau don't care about the Lord, man. Not I guarantee that they don't think about Yahweh about some shot, man. All right. And same time. That's not their power anyway. All right, but go ahead.
Verse 5. His ways are always grievous. Thou judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffed at them. He puffed.
Yeah, his ways, man. His ways, man. Like I heard, they're shipping North Kingdom back to the places wherever they're from, but they put them in the goddamn cargo ship, or not ship, but a plane. How in the fuck am I supposed to breathe in there? And they said that they found dead bodies, somewhere in the ocean, floating up to the shore because they probably kill them up there for whatever it's called for probably they can't breathe in there, probably died that they threw them off the goddamn plane into the water. But this dude the damn devil, man. All right, go ahead, bro.
Verse 6, it says, "He said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity."
Yeah, that's how Esau feel. That's he feel like he's untouchable. He feel like he would never go through the situation that we went through, that we going through. But guess what? It gonna happen to you, Esau. All right. The same shit put on us, we're gonna put the same shit on y'all. All right, but go ahead.
Verse 7. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity.
Let's see. Go ahead.
Verse 8. He sitteth in lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privately set against the poor. He lied.
And that bill really gonna fuck over people, bro. You're gonna lose. People gonna lose their Medicaid, housing, what you call it, welfare. I mean, people ain't gonna pay for their medication. I mean, it gonna fuck people up, man. But guess what? This time we need this here. We ready for this bitch to go down. All right, go ahead, bro.
Verse 9. He lieth in wait and secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draw him into his net. He croucheth and humbled himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He said,
that's it, bro. And that's what it is, bro. He gonna catch a lot of people. And how you gonna get them? The MOTB. He gonna cause the problem, and he gonna be the solution. And the MOTB gonna be the solution for everything. But that's all I got, bro. I know it's long. It was long, but I had to get you.
Now you could, if I'm an ad Bob Kashal, when I read it, it made me, the first thing I thought about was, Esau being that cunning hunter. He's very deceitful, catching skillful, and catching his prey.
He's patient too. Anybody had anything else we can close out on?
We had that guy. We had Proverbs 11:1.
Bro. It went into how he would never see adversity. So get to Isaiah 14:12, Baba Bashar.
Kind of, we'll end it on this one unless your brother had something else. You got it, bro.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from the heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground? Why didst weaken the nations?
Yeah, so the Lord is speeding up times. Everything this man is doing, he's doing it to his own downfall. Yahweh Shemel Shai is having this man, basically, by him moving against the Israelites, he moved against himself. And he can't stop it. He can't even stop himself from moving against himself. That's why he even coming down. He even coming down upon his own, like the brother said, his own people. They're gonna be casualties because it's Yahweh Shemel Shai speedily removing this man out of the earth. Rapido. He gotta go. The Lord ain't playing with this man. Like he really moving him out the way. And then we seen this before our eyes. So blessed are our eyes before we see these things, man. And he been a counselor for so long on the earth, but the earth is about to really experience a world without this man in power.
For sure, bro. And this everything he's doing just leading to his own downfall. Because the devil is doing this to try to stay in power. Coming with this. He's intentionally crashing the economy. He's separating. He's creating extreme poverty across the board. All right, and he's going to present, the CHIP as a solution, to a problem that he created. And we know when this CHIP is mandated, okay, Yahweh Shah right around the corner. So everything that the devil is doing, he's on the path, to his own destruction, bro. And we're just, watching this thing play out, being on our watch, as the scriptures say, and reporting according to the scriptures, man. But yeah, I think the point was made, I say another, weekly lesson, going through prophecy. So this gonna be, ongoing, topic dealing with the big beautiful bill. So expect to hear new things, being brought out, because people going, the spirit is out there for people to, particular people to investigate, so expect, more info to come out, and we'll report, and we need it, so Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem,
Yahweh,
and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.